Good evening, everybody. It is Steve Lookner with Agenda Free TV. We are here to bring you live U.S. and world coverage with the latest stories, and also we're going to be taking your comments and questions on the air, so you can write to me during the broadcast at Lookner on Twitter. Good evening, everybody. You're going to hear two of me. Now you're going to hear one of me again. You can write to me on Twitter at Lookner, and thanks so much to our moderators for being with us tonight in our chat rooms. Appreciate it. And we're going to get you caught up on some different stories. So the story I want to start by talking about, hang on a second here. Hang on. Let me just get everything organized here. Let's get everything organized. The story I want to first talk about is, thank you, by the way, Patty Huddleston Looney, for the Facebook stars. It's very kind of you. Thank you, Patty. I appreciate that. The Super Bowl is coming up. The Super Bowl is coming up on Sunday, and the Chiefs are playing the Buccaneers, and the head coach of the Kansas City Chiefs is Andy Reid. Andy Reid's son, Britt Reid, is also a coach. He is the outside linebackers coach. He's an assistant coach. Well, last night, Britt Reid was involved in a car accident in which he ran into another car, and a 5-year-old has life-threatening injuries. And Britt Reid also said he had been drinking, and the police saw signs of impairment. So the police are still investigating, but it's possible that Andy Reid's son, who himself is an assistant coach on the Chiefs, it's possible he'll be arrested. It's possible he'll go to jail. So this just came out tonight. It's again, the Chiefs are playing in the Super Bowl in 2 days. Their head coach is Andy Reid, and his son Britt is also a coach for the team. And I mean, it seems possible he'll get arrested. So we want to bring you the latest updates on this story. It's a very, it's certainly a bad story in terms of a couple of kids getting hurt, and one has life-threatening injuries. So I'm going to show you some different details here, but I mean, this, big question is what's the investigation going to reveal? And you might wonder, did he take a breathalyzer test? So a follower sent me an article in which it says he was given a blood test at the hospital, but we don't know what the results of the blood test were. So we don't know if his blood test says he was at the legal limit or not. And I don't know if he could. What's the deal? Did they give him the blood test instead of the breathalyzer test? I don't know how that works. So I'll show you some of the details out there. He's the outside linebackers coach. Okay, so this is the ESPN article. The ESPN article says, Britt Reid, the son of Chiefs coach Andy Reid and the team's outside linebackers coach, was involved in a multi-car accident last night that has left a 5-year-old child with life-threatening injuries, according to a team statement in the police report. I'd like to see the police report. I haven't actually seen the report. Reid, who was scheduled to leave with the Chiefs on Saturday for Super Bowl, 55 against the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, is now not expected to travel to Tampa. So he is one of the coaches for the team. He's the head coach's son, and now it doesn't look like he's going to the Super Bowl. According to an incident report provided by the Kansas City, Missouri Police Department, a car ran out of gas on an on-ramp to Interstate 435 in Kansas City on Thursday night. After the driver called relatives for help, a second car arrived, also parking on the on-ramp. And I read a different story that said this on-ramp was near the Chiefs' practice facility. So there's two cars sitting on the on-ramp to the freeway. According to the police report, a third car, which Kansas City television station KSHB said was driven by Britt Reid, then came along and struck first the left front of the disabled vehicle, and then the rear of the second vehicle, where the 5-year-old child was in the back seat along with a 4-year-old child, who also was taken by ambulance to an area hospital but with non-life-threatening injuries. So there were 2 cars, one disabled, one helping it out, on this on-ramp to the freeway. And apparently Britt Reid's car clipped the first car. It struck the left front of the disabled vehicle and then the rear of the second vehicle where the kids were. The news station said Reid acknowledged to the police that he was driving the third car, according to a search warrant. The police report said the driver of the third car suffered non-life-threatening injuries and was being investigated. That would be Britt Reid. Britt Reid suffered non-life-threatening injuries and was being investigated for possible impairment. So he's being investigated for possible impairment. According to the search warrant obtained by KSHB, a Kansas City PD officer said Reid's eyes were bloodshot and the officer smelled a moderate odor of alcoholic beverages. The warrant went on to say Reid told the officer he had 2 to 3 drinks and that he also took prescription Adderall. Now, I don't know, in a situation like this, I know he suffered non-life-threatening injuries and he went to the hospital. Would they normally give somebody, I don't know how injured. First of all, I hope everybody comes out okay. I mean, there's one kid with non-life-threatening injuries. So I hope everybody involved who suffered injuries ends up okay and recovers as quickly as possible. But, I wonder, I don't know the extent of Britt Reid's injuries. They're non-life-threatening. But, so far we haven't heard that he took a breathalyzer as the scene. And I don't know if that's because he was hurt or... I hope he didn't receive, put it this way, I hope he didn't receive special treatment because he was the son of Andy Reid. That's all I'm saying. The chief said the organization has been made aware of a multi-vehicle accident involving outside linebackers coach Britt Reid. We're in the process of gathering information. We have no further comment at this time. Our thoughts and prayers with everyone involved. No one involved in the multi-car accident is identified by name in the police report. The driver of the disabled vehicle was inside the car at the time of the first collision but was not injured, the police report said, and the driver of the second vehicle and a front seat adult passenger were also not injured. So that's interesting. It's the 2 people who were injured. Well, the 3 people who were injured were Britt Reid and 2 kids, one of them with life-threatening injuries. Now, Reid pleaded guilty to a DUI in 2008. So he already once in his life pleaded guilty to a DUI in 2008. 1 year before that, he pleaded guilty to flashing a gun at another motorist and was sentenced to 8 to 23 months in prison. Okay, I want to read some comments from you guys. So I'm going to show you some other reports on this. Jan Harker says if he was going up that ramp, he might have been trying to pick up speed to merge into traffic that's a busy highway. So one of the other articles I saw said that this happened, here it is, Pro Football Talk. The crash happened shortly after 9 p.m. last night on I-435 near the Chiefs practice facility. So you can actually see where this, I think you can tell where this is. Because if you go to Arrowhead Stadium, right, that's where the Chiefs play. And the practice facility is there. So here's Arrowhead Stadium in Kansas City. So if you see here, there's the stadium, and then the practice facility is right there. It says Chiefs Training Complex. I assume that's the practice facility. It looks like it to me. And it's right next to the I-435. See, that's the I-435. And the on-ramp, I don't know which on-ramp. I mean, to me, the closest on-ramp would be right here. So if you were leaving, I don't know whether he would be going north or south, but if you were leaving the practice facility, you'd either get on, which way? You could get on going north, like up here, or you could get on going south You could go up this way and get on getting south going this way. So I'm not sure what direction he was heading in. But you can see the practice facility is right next to the freeway. So I'm assuming since this was on an on-ramp near the on-ramp to the freeway near the stadium, that I assume he was just leaving the stadium. I don't know. Now maybe he had left and gone somewhere else and gone back to pick up his car at the stadium. I don't know, or at the practice facility. But the practice facility is right here, and the freeway's right here. Was he drinking after practice? I have no idea. But it says it happened on I-435 near the Chiefs practice facility. Reid reportedly told police that the pickup truck he was driving hit a car that had pulled over after running out of gas, as well as another vehicle that had come to assist that vehicle. History Underfoot says arrogant behavior to put others in danger. He knew about mixing meds and alcohol, I'm sure. Now, I have no idea with the medicine. I don't know if that. I don't know what happened. I don't know if the alcohol played a role. I don't know if the medicine played a role. The ESPN article said he told the police he had some drinks. Oops, what happened there? He had told the police that he had 2 to 3 drinks and that he also took prescription Adderall. Void Moon says whether or not he was legally intoxicated, he was still drinking and driving. History Underfoot says, was he drinking on the job? I don't know. Kimberly Barr says, were the kids in car seats or booster seats? Maybe the impact point was their door. Yeah, I don't know the details. I don't know why one of the kids suffered life-threatening injuries and the other suffered injuries but that weren't life-threatening. So yeah, I don't know. I haven't seen photos of the crash. Pippi Long says, some like to delay breathalyzer test, hoping numbers go down by the time you get to the hospital. So again, I'm not aware that he had a breathalyzer. According to this article here, that a follower clued me into. This is the KSHB article. Chiefs assistant coach admits in warrant to drinking before I-435 crash that hurt 2 children, 1 severely. KCPD Britt Reid, son of Andy Reid, admitted to drinking before wreck. So it says here that Britt Reid told the officer he'd had 2 to 3 drinks according to the search warrant application. He also said he took Adderall by prescription. The officer wrote in the warrant that he observed signs of impairment, after which Reid complained of stomach pain and was transported to an area hospital for treatment. Once at the hospital, the officer requested a blood draw from Britt Reid, and a Jackson County judge approved the request. The search warrant application also references that a computer check revealed multiple prior DUI contacts. So I know he was convicted in 2008. He pled guilty to one. So, but you can see it says the officer requested a blood draw, and a Jackson County judge approved. So it sounds like there was an approval to whether he wanted to or not take his blood and test it. I don't know what the result of that test is. I have not seen that reported anywhere. I don't know how long that takes. I'd assume they know by now what his alcohol level was. Kimmy Rose says, sounds like drinking on the job. He may be an alcoholic. Again, I don't know. This happened at around 9 p.m. How late do they stay? Again, it was near the practice facility, and it was the on-ramp to the freeway. So I'm assuming he was leaving the practice facility. I don't know that. But if he was, I assume they would have been there yesterday practicing. So how late did they work? I do not know. It's around 9 p.m. Jeff says, so was he drinking at the football facility? Good question. Maybe he was drinking there. Maybe he went for a couple drinks after. Maybe he drank in his car. I don't know where he was drinking. Maria B. says, when I worked on an ambulance, no one had a breathalyzer when they were injured. They took care of that stuff at the hospital. Okay. I'm going to show you this article as well. This is a local outlet. So again, what we're covering here, one story we're covering is, so the Kansas City Chiefs play in the Super Bowl. They're playing in the Super Bowl on Sunday. Today is Friday. Is it Friday? I think it's Friday. Yes, it's Friday. So they're playing in the Super Bowl in 2 days. Britt Reid is an assistant coach for the team. He's also the son of the head coach, Andy Reid. And he got in this accident last night where he hit a car with kids in it. And one of the kids has life-threatening injuries. And according to the local report, he told police that, maybe the police report too. The police said they saw signs of impairment and smelled alcohol, and he told police, and a local report says, and maybe the police report says he told the police he had had a couple drinks. Let's see here. Blah, 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 blah. Police say Reid acknowledged he had been drinking before the crash. So that's the police say that Reid told them he'd been drinking. Police say they could smell alcohol on Reid and that his eyes were bloodshot. Reid told officers he had 2 or 3 drinks. So, he could be, he's not going to, as of right now, he's not going to the Super Bowl. For all I know, he could be arrested soon. He could go to jail. I don't know what's going to happen though. The kid getting hurt, the kids getting hurt angle is way more important than the sports angle. But the sports angle also, remember, is that Andy Reid, who's supposed to be coaching his team in the Super Bowl, now has this news that his son may be going to jail, right? So, again, the sports isn't nearly as important as the kids getting hurt. But now you have to wonder about how that's going to affect, it's certainly, I think, relevant to the game. Nan B says, wonder if he was going in the direction of his home. Sarah Joy thinks 2 or 3 drinks means like 5. Andrew says, sounds like a felony. Another question is, now in terms of legal jeopardy, I'm sure he's certainly in possible legal jeopardy now, which would only, I assume, get worse if the kid died. So, that probably changes. Certainly, other laws could apply if the kid died. So hopefully, hopefully the kid survives. Hey, real quick, thank you, Kenneth Colton, for your support. Kenneth says, rest in peace, Christopher Plummer. Yeah, we'll talk about that a little later on. Thank you, Kenneth. What a life this man lived. Lost another acting legend and humanitarian. Yeah, Christopher Plummer passed away. Thank you, Kenneth. Yeah, we'll talk about that in a little bit. I appreciate it. Oh, now, also, Kenneth Colton says, sounds like a huge lawsuit even if the kid lives. That's a whole other thing I was thinking about, is civil lawsuit, right? If he caused this accident, Britt Reid, and I'm pretty darn certain that there will be, the family will sue. And that could be an enormous amount of money too, So it's a terrible situation. Jeff Vegas says, one of Andy Reid's other sons died of a drug overdose in 2012. Yeah, let me just show you this. Wikipedia. Andy Reid, who's the coach of the Chiefs. Personal life. Reid and his wife has been married since 1981. They had 5 children, 3 sons and 2 daughters. His oldest son, Garrett, was found dead in 2012 from an accidental heroin overdose. Britt is the Chiefs linebackers and outside linebackers coach. And he's the one who was involved in this. All right, hold on. I want to show you the local article. But I mean, like Britt, I don't know what's going to happen. I don't know how the police investigation was going to go. It's possible, though, he could end up being both in jail and sued successfully for an enormous amount of money. So it's just crazy. No, Beth, he has not been arrested. We don't know if he's going to be charged with a crime. I don't know what the result of his blood test were. So we'll have to just see. We'll have to just see what the police say. Okay, here, let's look at this. Let's look at the local article. This is from WKSHB, Kansas City. Chief's assistant admits in warrant to drinking before I-40-35 crash that hurt 2 children, 1 severely. This was last night. This is like 3 days before the Super Bowl. Chiefs assistant linebackers coach Britt Reid, son of head coach Andy Reid, was involved in a multi-vehicle crash that injured 2 young children less than 2 days before the team was scheduled to depart for the Super Bowl. Reid is Andy Reid's son. He has worked on the team's coaching staff since before the 2013 season. You know, another question is, was he drinking with people from the team? Because then I wonder, you know, if I don't know how this works. I wonder, could they sue if he was like drinking on here? This is what for example, suppose Britt Reid was drinking at the practice facility, right? And people from the team knew that he was drinking, right? Could the family sue the team and say, you knew this guy was drinking at your workplace and you didn't do anything about it and you let him get on the road? I have no idea. I'm not a lawyer. I'm just wondering about that. Let's see here. The crash happened shortly after 9 p.m. on Thursday on southbound I-435 near Eastwood Traffic Way, which is one exit south of the Chiefs practice facility at the Truman Sports Complex. Okay, so Eastwood Traffic Way. Where is Eastwood Traffic Way? We need to find that. Here it is. There it is. Okay. So, this is interesting. So there's the stadium. I wonder if, so here's the stadium and here's the practice facility. And it happened, is this the on-ramp it happened at? You know, it's possible also that maybe, let's see, if it happened in this area, you know, it's possible that Britt Reid could have been at the practice facility, which is here. Maybe he went somewhere after work. And, you know, because the facility's up here, and it looks like it happened at the on-ramp down here. It's not that far. It's probably, what is it? What's the distance here? The distance from here to the that's about 1.5 miles. That's about 1.5 miles from the practice facility. Let's see here. Southbound Interstate 435. According to Kansas City, Missouri police, a Chevy Impala that had run out of gas was sitting on the entrance ramp from Stadium Drive to I-435. Well, now we can know exactly where this is. Stadium Drive. Where is Stadium Drive? Stadium Drive? I'm not seeing a Stadium Drive there. There's Stadium Drive. Here. Yeah, that's a little weird. That's a little weird. It sounds like the article gives 2 locations. Stadium Drive is right here, right next to the stadium. Yeah, well, here it is. There's Stadium Drive is here, and then here's the on-ramp. And the on-ramp goes down, 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 down. Oh, there's this road. The on-ramp runs beside the freeway. See this? That's what I think happens. That's what it looks like happens. Then it probably merges with the freeway somewhere. Maybe? I'm just trying to piece this through. The article said like the accident happened down here, but the on-ramp is here. A Chevy Impala that had run out of gas was sitting on the entrance ramp from Stadium Drive to I-35. But I guess maybe it was sitting, that it looks like a long ramp. Okay, hold on. The driver had called family for help, which arrived in a Chevy Traverse and parked in front of the disabled car. All right, so let's just look at this. I'm sorry to do the map thing, but I actually think it's helpful to look at it. So if we put this down here, let's get the guy out here. Okay, there's the on-ramp right there. That's the on-ramp going southbound. Here, hold on a second. I think. Right, so that's facing south. So that's Stadium Drive, and then the stadium would be, I guess, this way. And then the on-ramp south would be this on-ramp here. And you get on this on-ramp, and you get on it, and you're not on the freeway yet. See, it keeps going. You're next to the freeway. So and you keep going, and you keep going, and you keep going, and you keep going. You're still not on the freeway yet. Eventually, I guess it merges with the freeway. There it is. There it merges right there. Right. So it doesn't merge till down here. Let's go back to map. This could have been its own stream. I was thinking of making it its own stream, and then I was like, well, there's probably not enough news with it. But there's actually a bunch to say about it. So where is the accident happened by, there's Stadium Drive. You get on up here. You go down here this way, and it happened near, where did they say it happened? Eastwood Traffic Way, right here, near here. I don't even know where they merge right here. That's where they merge. Okay. So, looks like it happened around, if I'm doing this right. Oh, that's already the freeway there. So, somewhere back up here. There it is. There's the merge right there. I think. Is this it? That's where they merge. Okay. Okay, so I think, if I'm doing this right, where's Stadium Drive? Stadium Drive is here. Okay, so the car that was disabled was on this ramp here, leading to the freeway. So somewhere around here. It's somewhere around here. That's what it looks like to me. Right? Because that's the on-ramp to the freeway, but you're not at the freeway yet. That's the one. So there's a car sitting on here somewhere. I don't know if the car that was on this on-ramp disabled one was on, was it on the side or something? I don't know if this is the exact place. This is around where it happened. Okay. So a Chevy Impala that had run out of gas while sitting on the entrance ramp from Stadium Drive to I-4035. The driver had called family for help, which arrived in a Chevy Traverse and parked in front of the disabled car. While attempting to get the vehicle running again, a white Dodge Ram Laramie Sport pickup truck traveling on the entrance ramp, which Britt Reid admitted to police he was driving according to a search warrant, struck the left front of the stranded Impala. So there was the Impala, and then there was a car parked in front of it. right? There was 2 cars parked, and the one in the back was the one that was stranded. And the Ram truck, the pickup truck, hit the left front of the stranded Impala. So I'm wondering if the stranded Impala was on the right side of the road. Suppose it happened here. I'm wondering if, say, the cars that were stranded were right here, and then this car driving is supposed to be in this lane, but it maybe drifts over or something. I'm not sure if you look at this here. Oh, there's actually 2 lanes. Maybe it was in the breakdown lane. I'm not even sure. Sorry. You see, I don't even know. I don't know where the car was pulled over. It's interesting. This is the on-ramp here, and there's like 2 lanes. There's a yellow lane, but I don't know which side of the road the stranded car was. It might have been like right here or something, So where is it here? So while attempting to get the vehicle running again, a white Dodge Ram Laramie Sport pickup truck traveling on the entrance ramp, which Britt Reid admitted to police he was driving, according to a search warrant, struck the left front of the stranded Impala. The driver of the stranded vehicle was inside the car at the time and wasn't injured, but the Ram truck continued forward and also struck the right rear of the car that was helping the stranded car, the Traverse. The right rear. It struck the left front of the stranded Impala and the right rear of the Traverse. That's interesting. The left front of the rear car and the right rear of the front car. Maybe when it hit the left front of the Impala, that affected which way it was going. A 5-year-old child in the backseat of the Traverse suffered life-threatening injuries, and a 4-year-old also in the backseat suffered non-life-threatening injuries. Both children were transported to a local hospital for treatment. An adult passenger in the front seat of the Traverse was not injured. I don't know if the kids were wearing seatbelts or not, or what happened. So the kids were in the Traverse, and they got hurt. An adult passenger in the front seat of the Traverse was not injured. Reid received non-life-threatening injuries. KCPD said investigators were trying to determine whether driver impairment was a factor in the crash, which closed 3 of the interstate's 4 lanes. Okay. It's kind of confusing. It's kind of confusing, like, I don't know exactly where on this on-ramp this happened. And where the cars that were hit were. Were they in the breakdown lane? Were they in the middle of the road? I have no idea. I mean, it's a 2-lane. At this point, this here is a 2-lane road. But remember, if a car ran out of gas, I don't know where it was sitting, the car that ran out of gas. Carol Reed says, sounds like he hit the driver's side fender and then got the rear of the next car. That's true. Right. History Underfoot says the accident must have been close to the highway, not on the ramp, if the lanes of the highway lanes were closed. Well, also at this point, it's pretty close to that's the highway, right? That's the highway. That's the ramp. So there could be debris, from a crash there could have been debris that spread out over here too. Are there any pictures of the accident? I have seen no pictures of the accident. Diana says that is a pretty straight ramp, too. Hang on one second here. I'm just seeing if there's any updates while we've been on the air. Let me do a quick check here. You can write to me at Lookner on Twitter. like a couple things that I'm waiting to hear are, one, how is the kid doing who has life-threatening injuries? Two, are the police going to charge and arrest Britt Reid or not? Diana L. says, could have been distracted driving as well, looking at phone. Something else I wonder is, so this on-ramp, this happened around 9 p.m. at night. I mean, maybe there's not much traffic usually on that on-ramp at 9 p.m. at night, 9 p.m. And he's driving down, and I'm guessing you could probably get a pretty good speed up on this on-ramp because it runs parallel to the freeway for a while. So, and you're not expecting to see a car sitting there. Starfire says it was dark out. It happened at 9 p.m. And I don't know what the lighting is like on that on-ramp. Christopher Lund says they weren't moving, so maybe the kids weren't in seatbelts and then jumping around like kids do. Yeah, I was wondering if maybe the kids weren't in seatbelts and the person in the front was, and that's why they didn't get hurt. Salon Girl says it may have been a simple accident and not the drinking, not making excuses. Well, the problem is, I don't know, it's difficult because if it's a simple accident, but the person had been drinking, right? How are you going to know if the person, if they hadn't been drinking, would they have noticed the cars before? Now, we don't know what the blood alcohol level was in the blood test also. Montpelier thinks with all the publicity he will be charged. Without it, who knows? Well, I think they'll charge him if they have evidence that he broke the law. What happens if it turns out that he was drinking? I mean, he told the police he was drinking, but he wasn't legally drunk. What happens then? In terms of, also, we also don't know, where the cars were that were hit. Were they in the breakdown lane? Were they in the middle of the road? We don't know. Give me a shout at Lookner on Twitter. Missouri Cowboy says, run out of gas, preventable or income-related, endangering children. Yeah, so, certainly very unfortunate that they ran out of gas. You can write to me on Twitter at Lookner. By the way, one of our other viewers, Rachel, just sent me this, which is Kansas City Chiefs coach Britt Reid under investigation and crash a critically injured child. Oh, this has the warrant here. We'll have to look at the warrant. Thank you, by the way, Lilardo Rios, for your support. Thank you, Lilardo Rios. I appreciate that. Should we have done this? Should this have been its own stream? I guess once we started covering it, I realized that there's a bunch of details about the crash. Like normally something like this, I think I would make it its own stream. I can still make it its own stream. What are your thoughts on making it its own stream? Because it's its own story. Is it too late? Is it too late after the story to make it its own stream? What do you guys think? Let me know your thoughts. I just hadn't thought. I just figured we wouldn't be talking about it, but Sarah Joy, was a Super Bowl coming up? Yes. Megan Mills says no, not enough details. I mean, that's a big reason I didn't make its own stream, is that there's not that many details. We have a bunch of... Darth Tater says no. Miss Miami says own stream. C. Michelle Sparks says meh. Yeah, it's interesting. Yeah, it's like... I think what happened is... Like, I think it's I mean, look, what we might do. Here's what we might do. Here's what we might do, is if there's more news about it, right? If there's further developments, then we could do its own stream, right? Because at this point, he hasn't been arrested. He hasn't even been charged with a crime. Right? So the police might come out and say, look, this was just an honest accident. The car was in the middle of the road, and it was in a hard to see place. So maybe I think what we'll do is if he were to get arrested, I think we maybe would do the stream then. Yeah, it's a tough call. It's a tough call. I don't like doing, stories when there's not much detail. I don't like doing a devoted stream to a story when there's not that much detail about it. Yeah, we'll look at the warrant and we'll see what the warrant says. But I'll keep an eye on it. I'll keep an eye on it, and if there's, big developments, we'll do its own. We'll do its own stream on it. Hey, so let's look at the warrant. We were just going to look at this warrant. And again, what we're covering is the assistant coach, an assistant coach for the Kansas City Chiefs who are playing in the Super Bowl, Britt Reid, who also is the head coach Andy Reid's son. He was in a car. His car last night hit another car that had kids in it, and one of the kids is now has life-threatening injuries. And the assistant coach who was driving the car admitted he had been drinking. Application for search warrant. This is from Fox 4. On February 4th at approximately 9:11 p.m., officers were dispatched to the area of I-435 highway and Eastwood Traffic Way in regards to an injury crash. When officers arrived, they located multiple vehicles that were involved in the crash. Officers located Britt, who admitted to being the driver of this truck. When I arrived at the location, I made contact with Reid and could smell a moderate odor of alcoholic beverages emanating from his person, and his eyes were bloodshot and red. Okay, so the police say could smell a moderate odor of alcoholic beverages emanating from his person, and his eyes were bloodshot and red. When asked if he had been drinking, Reid advised he had had 2 to 3 drinks. When asked if he was on prescription medication, he said he was on Adderall. I conducted a brief seated battery of horizontal gaze nystagmus. I guess this is like some sort of test, and observed signs of impairment. He did an HGN test. HGN test. Find law. Horizontal gaze nystagmus, which is the involuntary jerking of one's eye when it gazes to the side. Since this jerking becomes exaggerated by alcohol consumption, it is used as evidence of impairment. That's interesting. Since alcohol depresses the nervous system, it has a noticeable effect on the ability to control sideways eye movements in a smooth and accurate manner. In fact, those who exhibit exaggerated eye jerks aren't even aware of it. How the HGN test works. The officer tells the suspect he or she is going to check the eyes and ask whether they wear contact lenses, blah, 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 blah. The officer then asks the suspect to follow an object, usually the tip of a pen or a pen light, placed 12 to 15 inches away with only their eyes. The officer is looking for the following 3 clues in each eye. Lack of smooth pursuit. Does the eye follow the object smoothly, or does it jerk? Does the eye have a distinct jerking motion after being held toward the outer edge for 4 seconds? As the officer moves the object to the suspect's shoulders, does the eye jerk before the object is 45 degrees from the center of the suspect's face? So the officer gave this horizontal gaze test to Britt Reid and observed signs of impairment. Reid complained of stomach pain and was transported to the hospital for treatment. When arrived at the hospital, conducted a full battery of horizontal gaze tests and observed 4 clues of impairment. A computer check revealed Reid has a valid Kansas City operator's license and multiple prior DUI contacts. He did plead guilty to a DUI in 2008. Property to be seized. Human blood, 4 vials, two vial blood draws half an hour apart from the body of Reid. The 4 vials of blood are to be drawn taken and drawn to gray top vials. The samples are to be examined for blood alcohol contact and or the presence of controlled substances. And I believe that was done. So they did take his blood. But yeah, so the warrant says that the officer gave Reid the horizontal gaze test both at the scene and at the hospital. And both times the officer observed signs of impairment. That's what it says in the warrant. So that's not good. That's not good. So visual signs, the officer observed a moderate smell of alcohol and bloodshot red eyes and signs of impairment when given a test. I have a question. Normally would a person have been arrested by now? Like if it was me driving that car and I had a smell of alcohol on me and I had bloodshot eyes and they gave me the horizontal gaze test and I showed signs of impairment, would they just arrest me right there? Or would they, I guess they took the blood. Maybe they're just waiting for the blood test. I don't know. I don't know how it works, but some of our viewers think you would normally get arrested. Chris said you'd already be in the can. I don't know how it normally works there. I just don't know. But I'd be interested in knowing that. I don't know what's required. Maybe they require a breathalyzer or blood test. The blood test was last night. Nicole thinks people normally get arrested on the spot for DUI. I just don't know what the law is like there. Yeah, Castro says surely blood test is immediate. I can't imagine it takes that long to get the results of a blood test for blood alcohol level. John Person says there's only one way to find out. John's going to go get his test now, I guess. Thank you, John, for your support. Thank you. Let me just see here. I bet we're going to hear more about this soon. I mean, it's like either his blood alcohol level was legal or not. It's one of the two. Richie Cuna says a day, 24 hours. Let me look this up. How long does a blood alcohol level test take? No. See, the problem is, what is a blood alcohol test? To check your blood for alcohol, your doctor uses a needle to take blood from your arm and measure the amount of alcohol. This is from WebMD. Does it say how long it takes? This article does not say how long it takes. We're getting a lot of different comments in the chat about how long it takes. I'd love to know. I don't know. Diana says they are fast. Some people are saying 24 hours. Some people are saying 15 minutes. Some people are saying 2 to 3 hours. Joey says 24 to 48 hours. Let's see here. Yeah, Rita's Real sent me this. According to the search warrant, they took 4 vials of blood. That we just read that, yeah. Rita sent me this one. Again, Andy Reid's son. Andy Reid's the head coach of the Chiefs. They're playing in the Super Bowl on Sunday. Andy Reid's son, who's also a coach for the team, Britt Reid, ran into a car last night with his own car, with his own truck, and a child, a 5-year-old, has life-threatening injuries. And a 4-year-old was also injured. As of right now, no charges have been filed and no final finding of fault has been reported, but police say there's an investigation underway. Britt Reid admitted to drinking. It's not clear if he was over the legal limit. Nan B thinks they're holding the information because of who it is. They must know. They must know. I feel like they know, right? This was it's 9:12 p.m. It's 24 hours the accident. I would be shocked if they didn't know what the blood alcohol level was and they didn't have a decent idea about what happened in the accident. There's a lot of witnesses. There's tons of witnesses. They know where the cars were. So I feel like the police have a decent idea of what happened, and I'm guessing a decent idea of whether impairment was a factor. You have all the people at the scene who were there are witnesses. They know exactly where the cars were. Jeff says they know something and we'll hear about it on Monday. Montpelier says they know. Billy Harris says, shouldn't matter if over a legal limit. I think it does, Billy. Oh, I don't know that they're going to wait till Monday. I don't know that, I don't know. I don't know how they normally do it there. I would think if they're going to arrest him, they're going to arrest him. I don't know. He might not be. Yeah, like as Mark Helton says, he may not have been drunk. Might have been just an accident. See, this is where we need, what we need is like a Kansas City, a former Kansas City prosecutor who could tell you whether a average person would have been arrested under this circumstance and all that kind of stuff. Lynn says if he was drunk, they will probably throw the book at him for previous offenses. Rita thinks he's already on his way to rehab before they can arrest him. I don't know that that would make a difference, would it? Yeah, now Rita's Real also says, I'm just curious how they kept it quiet for this long. This came out at about 5 or 6 p.m. today is when it came out. So it was quiet for a little while. Rock says normally they would give him a field sobriety test and breathalyzer. However, he complained of pain. Ambulance was called. Hence the requested blood draw. Yeah, we talked about that earlier. That he said he felt pain, so they sent him to the hospital. But they did take his blood, so. Let me just look. Sorry. We read this article. A 5-year-old suffered life-threatening injuries. Okay, I think we need to move on from the story because there's other stories to talk about. But I mean, basically, we're waiting to hear. Hang on a second here. Oh, before coming to Kansas City, Britt Reid was arrested in 2007 for pointing a gun at another driver during a reported road rage incident, according to ESPN. According to court records, he was sentenced to 8 to 23 months in jail and 5 years of probation. After pleading guilty to charges of carrying an unlicensed firearm, simple assault, possession of a controlled substance, and possession of an instrument of crime in connection with an incident. That's from 2007. 7 months after that incident in 2007, Britt Reid was arrested again and charged with DUI, controlled substance, possession of a controlled substance, and possession of drug paraphernalia in August of 2007. Britt Reid, whose initial bail from the road rage incident was revoked after the DUI arrest, pleaded guilty in connection with the second arrest, the DUI arrest, and received a sentence of 1 to 6 months on February 1st, 2008. So he was in jail for DUI in 2008. I don't know if he has any other criminal offenses. And, look, that's certainly those are bad offenses. But I think everybody, if they do their time and, deserves, certain extreme cases aside, I believe people who commit crimes should, once they do their time, be allowed back in society. So I have no problem with him working. He did go to jail. That was 13 years ago. So, I don't think anyone who committed any kind of crime should be automatically barred from being in society. But, as to whether, I don't know his history. Has he had other incidents with drunken driving and stuff? So. But he had a legal license now. He was allowed to have, it wasn't like he was driving without a license. He had a legal license. Chris Lund said, whoever wrote script for Adderall will be under scrutiny since he obviously had an issue. So in terms of Adderall, like, I know nothing about how that could interact with alcohol and also affect driving. Dangers of mixing alcohol and Adderall. Now, look, this is Healthline. Dangers of mixing. You should not drink alcohol during treatment with Adderall. Not only can combining the two cause dangerous effects on your body, but it may also make your ADHD worse. So I don't know if when you get prescribed Adderall, I haven't seen his prescription, I don't know, but I guess there's a chance the prescription might have said, do not drink. So, could he have A, violated some law by drinking alcohol while on Adderall and then driving? And B, could that be relevant to a civil lawsuit where, if somebody sues you, if the family sues him, could they say you were negligent because you were on Adderall and you're not supposed to drink when you're on Adderall and you drank anyway, regardless of whether you were over the legal limit? I don't know. I'm just throwing this out there. Rita's Real says, my ex-husband is an attorney, or at least in our state, that was how you would coach kids who go into DUI or DWI, go straight to rehab to avoid arrest or negotiate with the prosecutor to go. But he's also, I'm sure he's facing, like, he could be facing stuff like vehicular homicide if the kid dies or some kind of, it's not just a DUI, it's that he hit a car and hit two cars and injured two kids. Mr. Showtime says there's a big red label that says do not mix with alcohol. WebMD says ADHD meds like Adderall can blunt that relaxed buzz feeling you get from alcohol, so you may end up drinking more than you should. The labels on ADHD drugs like Adderall advise against drinking, but some doctors think it's okay for people to have a beer or a glass of wine, maybe two, depending on the person. Just to be safe, doctors say you should wait until your ADHD meds wear off before you have that cocktail. Now, I don't know, was he actually on Adderall when he was driving or not? I don't know. He said he had a prescription. He said Britt Reid told police he took Adderall by prescription. That's from KSHB. So that's a whole other thing. That's a whole other thing. So there's all these aspects to this, but that's a possible other aspect to this is drinking while taking, if he was taking Adderall at the time. I mean, he says he was taking it, but was it actually in his system? Doug Rabbit says, can't imagine the hell the parents are going through right now, praying for the child. Joey Gast says, you can't take Adderall and drive, can you? Well, can you take Adderall while driving? How about this, Missouri? Driving on prescription drugs in Missouri. This is a local, I guess, I don't know if it's local, KKRY law firm, Kennedy, Kenny, Robbins, and Yarborough. This is not Missouri, though. Oh, where's Missouri? This was like Florida. That's not what I wanted. Harper Evans Wade Nettemayer, Columbia, Missouri. Our attorneys have experience representing people who were pulled over a routine traffic stop, brought in for drug recognition exam, and charged with DUI because the blood draw revealed the presence of prescription drugs. I don't know what the law is in Missouri. I just don't know. Missouri, Department of Revenue, driving while intoxicated. I'd have to look at the law. I don't know. And maybe there's certain amounts you could have or certain things. I just don't know the answer. Don Pratt says, yes, you can drive. Again, I don't know what the deal with that is. Reed Israel says, yes, you're allowed to drive with Adderall. I do every day. Okay. There's a lot to this story. Oh, by the way, Kevin Durant is now out of the game. Maybe because he had a close contact or something. So Kevin Durant is a basketball player for the Brooklyn Nets. He's one of the best players in the NBA. He had COVID last May. And then there's been this question about whether he would be able to play tonight. I'm wondering if maybe he had a close contact who got the virus. So Malika Andrews says Kevin Durant is out for the remainder of the game due to health and safety protocols. After missing the beginning of the game and subsequently being cleared to play, he is now unable to play at the direction of the league, a source told ESPN. And then I just saw this. This says, this is the Sports Center tweet said, appears to be the moment when he found out during the game that he would not play the rest of the game. So he's sitting there at the game, and then they talk to him, and he shakes his head, and I'm guessing he walks away. So my guess is, I don't know, maybe he had a close contact that got it, and because of the league rules, he has to go isolate. So I don't know what's going on with him. He got the virus in last May. Hey, thank you, N. Lee, by the way. I appreciate your support, N. Lee. Thank you, N. Lee. Much appreciated. Thank you. Thanks to our moderators, too. We got Sarah55, Melissa Alicia, Sarah Joy, Mark Helton, just dropping by says, I'm sure Andy and Clark are disappointed. B. Cray says, I live in KC and the Chiefs plane will leave for Tampa tonight. I don't think he'll be on the plane. Yeah, reportedly, Britt Reid is not traveling to the Super Bowl with the team. I was thanking the moderators. So thanks to our YouTube moderators. Thanks to our Periscope moderators. Thanks to our Facebook and Twitch moderators as well. Roxanne Becky is moderating. Buck Green is moderating. Thank you. Thank you, thank you. Also, hang on a second here. Thanks to our Twitch mods. Let's see. We got, excuse me. Beth Stannard thinks that Britt Reid is getting special treatment. Idaho Star and Racing Neophyte are moderating there. Thank you. They're all volunteers, the mods. Sorry, I'm just checking to see what updates there are. Yeah, so we'll have to wait and see with the whole Britt Reid story. There's going to be more information coming out about is he going to get charged with anything or not. So we might do a stream on that depending on what the update is. Rita's Real sent me this. I guess this is from her Adderall. She says, we're assuming he had a prescription that was legal, but the bottle clearly states not to mix it. Yes, you can take Adderall and drive. Drug may impair ability to operate a vehicle, vessel, or machine. Use care. Now this doesn't... the bottle states not to mix it. Where does it say not to mix it? Where is the part where it says not to mix it? Rita, can you send me the part of the picture, the photo of the part of the bottle where it says not to mix it? This says may impair ability to operate a machine. There's nothing about drinking here. Okay. Blaze Black says in the printout the pharmacy gives you. Repurposer says he could be prosecuted for Adderall issue even if the alcohol level is low, but it's a very tough case to prove. I don't know about Adderall driving laws. I just do not know. Apocalypse says, if you have ADHD, you really need Adderall or Ritalin to drive safely. Oh, thank you, Janice Key Smith, for the stars. I really appreciate that, Janice Key Smith. Thank you. Let's see here. Derek Moore thinks the story about the Britt Reid has legs. Yeah, I mean, I wouldn't be surprised if it turns out he gets a DUI, but we'll have to just see. Justin Contigo says it's not uncommon not to charge someone who went to the hospital. You can keep him in custody, but that requires an officer to stay with him at the hospital. If that's an extended stay, that's taking someone off the road to guard him. The alternative is to cut him loose and to take out an arrest warrant. He can then turn himself later after treatment, a better solution if he's not a danger to society. Well, yeah, I don't know what the specifics are, but this isn't just a DUI, remember. If it turns out that he was driving under the influence, he also hit a car with kids in it and 2 kids got hurt. One very, very seriously. Janice says, I think the problem with Adderall and drinking is that the stimulant can mask some of the normal signs of impairment and intoxication, giving the person a false sense of sobriety. And it may keep you awake longer than a person consuming similar amounts who is not on a stimulant. Now, something else I wonder is if his blood test had been over the legal limit, would he already be arrested? Given that he hasn't been arrested yet, that we know of, and hasn't been charged, does that suggest that his blood alcohol level wasn't above the legal limit? Okay. Doug Rabbit, we covered the Apple car story a couple of days ago. Jeff Vegas says, have not heard the last of this by a long shot. All right, let's jump over to. We'll just have to see what comes of this story. I don't know. I don't know what's going to happen. Worker B says, wonder if the announcers will discuss it during the game at all. Well, I'm guessing he might not be there. So I wonder if they just at least mention it. But I don't, Joe Knight says a DUI with injury is a felony anywhere in America. But again, thanks, Joe. Again, we don't know if there's going to be a DUI. I don't even know who will announce it. Will the Kansas City, DA or the county DA announce something? Yeah, it's a weird story because it could just turn out. It could turn out where the police could just say, it's not the police now. It's going to be up to the prosecutors. It could turn out where the prosecutors just say, we don't have enough evidence to charge them, or we investigated it and we think. It's weird. Who investigates this? The prosecutors or the police? It's kind of confusing. The police has detectives, so they'll be looking into it. But in terms of whether to charge someone, that's not up to the police, right? That's up to the prosecutors. I'm sure they'll work together on it. But, maybe it'll just turn out that the investigation comes up and says this was an accident. Maria says his arrest would show up in booking records and whatever news agency notices first may break it. It also could come out via press release of the arresting law enforcement agency. Okay. All right, we're going to talk about a different story now. Oh, speaking of Kansas City, by the way. This was interesting. Speaking of Kansas City. COVID-19 outbreak cancels remaining Disney on Ice shows at T-Mobile Center. This is a weird story because it's like the authorities, the health department canceled the Disney on Ice shows. And they basically said that that the show was not cooperating with them. One day after canceling a performance of Disney on Ice Dream Big scheduled at the T-Mobile Center in downtown Kansas City, the tour stop has been cut short due to a COVID outbreak among the performers and crew. The health department said at least 5 Disney on Ice staff had tested positive. Look at this. The health department said to protect KC families and residents attending the event, the health department asked Disney on Ice to cancel the Kansas City tour. The health department canceled it. Many people with tickets to the show were upset about the cancellations, especially those who only found out after making the trek downtown Friday night. We were never notified, said this person who had tickets. My kids were looking forward to it. There's a different story here. This is not the... There was another story which just talked about how the health department was trying to get information from them, and they were having a hard time of it. Let's see here. Is it this one? KC Health Department says remaining Disney on Ice performance is canceled. That's not the story either. Gosh, I can't find the link. Where's the story about it that I wanted to show you? Oh, Cindy says ESPN says Reid is in the hospital and will still be so for several days. Hang on. Why does it keep doing that? Why? Something's acting very strange here. There we go. Where does ESPN say that? Hang on. All right, hold on a second. Breaking news. Kansas City put Diana Rossini. Kansas City police, as of now, tell me as of now, no charges have been brought against Britt Reid, but say driver impairment is under investigation. Reid will not travel to Tampa on Saturday. He is currently still in the hospital with undisclosed injuries and could be hospitalized for days. For days. I think I'm going to follow Diana Rossini since she's posting about this. Again, Britt Reid is a coach for the Kansas City Chiefs. He's the son of the head coach, Andy Reid. Last night, he was driving his truck and he ran into a car, a car that had pulled over on the side of the road, and the car had kids in the back, and a 5-year-old kid has life-threatening injuries. And Britt Reid told police he'd had some drinks, and police saw signs of impairment. Jeez. She has another tweet about it. Hold on. I hadn't seen her tweets yet. I was told look at this. I was told if there are charges in this case involving Britt Reid, they will not be until after the Super Bowl, sometime next week as part of their normal investigative timeline, including the time it takes for blood toxicology results. How long does it take for blood toxicology results? And remember, officers twice gave him horizontal gaze tests, both at the scene and at the hospital, which is a test commonly used to detect impairment while driving. And according to the police document, officers observed signs of impairment in both horizontal gaze tests. They also smelled alcohol on him and observed red bloodshot eyes. History Underfoot says, after the Super Bowl, we called it. Jeff Haas says, can't arrest people during Super Bowl weekend. Nicole says, it doesn't take long. They are doing this for PR reasons. The thing I ask, again, is if it was me driving and it wasn't Andy Reid's son, would they have arrested me? I don't know. Linda Belk says, I thought his injuries are slight. Apparently they're not. Hey, thank you, Kirk Spaziani. I appreciate Kirk. Kirk says his wife, doctor, got second Moderna vaccine shot yesterday. Awesome. I'm glad to hear that, Kirk. Sounds like she's starting to feel normal now. Thank you, Kirk, and I'm happy that your wife got the second shot. Lovely Heaven says maybe there is no agency working during the Super Bowl weekend. I wonder, well, I don't know how it normally works there, but maybe on the weekends things do slow down. I don't know. People think if it was me, I would just be arrested by now. Thank you, Linda, for moderating as well. Linda's moderating there in Periscope. It's such a strange story. So I guess we're not going to get more news. I almost want to do a stream on it now. I'm close to doing a stream on it. I know we just covered it. I feel like in retrospect, with all the details about it, I feel like it should have been its own stream. Like if I had to do it again, I'd make it its own stream. Because there are all these interesting aspects to it. But I don't know that we're going to get any new news on it until, well, put it this way. If he does get charged, we can do a stream on it. But it is interesting right now because the whole aspect of they're going to be in the Super Bowl, right? That makes it interesting now that and there's this whole question of what's going on? Why aren't we going to hear anything until after the Super Bowl? Linda says you're already doing a stream on it. Yeah, no, I already am doing a stream on it, but the thing is no one except for people who normally watch the channel would see it. There might be people who are interested in the story who don't normally watch Agenda Free TV 2 or don't even watch any of the channels. It's a very interesting story, though. Let me just see something here. Yeah, it's hard to say. It's hard to say. LNG thinks it's a huge pre-Super Bowl story. Madison G thinks it's a pretty big story right before the Super Bowl. No, I think it's not really a headline difference. It's, yeah, I think maybe I should. I think maybe I should, just because it's I think it's worth, in the abstract, I think it's worth doing a story. It's worth doing its own stream on. I don't know that, it's this weird thing where it's it's not Andy Reid. See, the other thing is, remember this though, it's not the coach. It's the coach, it's the assistant coach. So let's keep some perspective here, right? It's not that the coach, the head coach, it's the assistant coach. I can't tell. It's just it's really a thing. It's one of those rare cases where it's just not clear. It's one of those rare cases. It's really right on that edge. Mark says if you can get more facts, do it. I don't know if there'll be more facts. Why not? I guess we should probably just do it. I don't have a gut. The princess says roll with your gut. I don't really have a gut feeling about it. Yeah, we might as well just do it. Let's just do it. Let's cover it. I mean, it's the big story tonight, and he's still in the hospital. So I think we should cover it. I think it's an interesting story. So I think we should do its own stream. Yeah. There's nothing so else compelling that I want to cover instead of that. So why don't we do a stream on it? Let's do a stream on it. I'll wrap this up, and then we'll just come back in 15 minutes and talk. We'll do a stream on the accident. It might just be an hour stream or something. So let's just do it. I mean, because part of the stream is hearing from the viewers, right? Part of the stream is hearing from the viewers. So we'll cover it. Maybe maybe I should have covered it earlier. I just, I made this. I probably, in retrospect, should have covered it earlier, but I didn't. But, anyways, so let's just do that. I won't do my big sign off now because I'm just going to come back in like 15 minutes or so. I just need to set up the stream. So that's what I'm going to do. Okay. So let's do a quick sign off. Hey, I appreciate the moderators. Thank you, moderators. Thanks to everybody who donated. That's really kind of you. Sorry, Kenneth, we didn't get to the Christopher Plummer story. So we did mention it quickly, but I think we should go and do the and just give it its own stream. I think it deserves to have its own stream. So we'll do it. Okay, so thank you for joining this stream, which ended up being mostly about the car stuff. But I think we're gonna hop over to Agenda Free TV 1 and cover it there. All right, so give me a couple minutes. I'm just gonna get off the air, and then as fast as I can, I'm gonna get back on the air on Agenda Free TV. Okay, so on Agenda Free TV 1, we'll do it deserves its own stream. Oh, thank you, Sonic. Sonic said enjoyed the debate about doing its own stream as much as the coverage. Yeah, that's part of what we do on this channel is we talk about the other channel. That's kind of part of what we do here. All right, thanks to everybody who's been modding. So I'll be right back. Oh, thanks for the Facebook stars. So give me a couple minutes. Let me wrap this up. I won't do the long sign off. But Maria B, Linda Belk, Mark Helton, Sarah 55, Melissa Alicia, Sarah Joy. They've all been moderating there. Twitch, Idaho Star, I think, was there before. Roxanne Betke and Facebook. Bud Green. Anybody else I'm missing? So we're going to do its own stream. It deserves it. All right, so thanks to all the moderators. All right, so give me a few minutes. I'll be right back in a few minutes, and we'll be on Agenda Free TV 1. Thanks, guys, for joining, and I'll see you in a few minutes, hopefully.